What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Skywars, the first one in a little while now. I think it's been about 4 weeks since I posted my last video, and I'll give the short recap. For those of you who don't know, my best friend recently passed away in a car accident, and I kind of took a break to kind of take some time to process that. And by no means am I saying that, I've worked through it all, it's all done. I'm completely over it, whatever. I'm not. I mean, this is my best friend. It's going to take me a long time to get to a point where I can say, like, it doesn't bother me anymore. But I am at a point where I can say I'm ready to try and get back to everything. So I'm ready to start trying to do the consistent upload thing again. Every time I come back and I'm like, guys, my motivation's back. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get on a consistent upload schedule. I say that, I do it for a couple days, and then I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. This is not sustainable for me. And it's not that I can't do it because I don't have the motivation. I mean, it is, but it's also more that either something comes up and it gets in my way, and then I kind of lose the motivation just because I missed one day, or I get to a point where it's just like, I'm not feeling much reward from it. I don't see a reason to keep doing it. And so typically when I start saying like, yeah, I'm going to get back into it, I'm going to start uploading again, I end up falling through on it in some way or another. So I am not in any way going to promise that I'm getting back on a consistent upload schedule because to be honest with you, I'm probably not, but I'm going to try my best. That's what I'm going to promise this time because I'm sick of saying like, I'm back, I'm ready to do this, and then not doing it. So you have my word that I'm going to try. Obviously, some stuff is going to pop up every now and then, and I'm going to have bad days where I'm just like, I can't record. So on my good days, I'm going to try to record because, then I don't have to worry about on the bad days. Um, but as I said, I am by no means over this. I mean, this is a deep loss. This is my best friend of 3 years, and it's going to take me a very long time to work through that. What the heck? But I am ready to try and get back out there. It's been, as I said, 4 weeks since I uploaded, and I don't like that. My dad today, I had band practice today, and then I went to the park with one of my friends, and on my way back after we dropped my friend off, and we were just heading back to my house. Uh, my dad's like, hey, when's the last time you uploaded a YouTube video? And I was like, I actually don't know. I did a stream the other night, but that's not the same. That's not, something that brings in a lot of viewers for me or anything. That's just, I feel like interacting with a few of the members of my community that, like to stop by for streams. Um, so I looked and I was like, it's been 4 weeks. Wow, I need to upload again soon because that's not good. That's not going to get me any viewers. No one's watching my videos 4 weeks after they've been uploaded. Okay, what? I'm going to spam the fish. I'm just going to keep spamming the fish. So anyways, yes, this is something that I'm by no means completely through. And I'm obviously still going to have bad days. Like, be completely open about it. Yesterday, Monday, I so we usually go to the gym every weekday except Wednesdays because Wednesdays are band practice days, and so we don't go on those days. But yesterday we didn't go, and so me and one of my friends were like, okay, well, how about we go down to the river that's near us instead? Because then we're still doing something physical, and we can have fun, and that's just something to do because it's really good when you're grieving to get out of the house. I personally have been rotting away in my room other than when I'm invited out to do something. When someone's like, hey, I want to go do this, I'm immediately drop everything, I want to go. But unless they invite me, I don't reach out. I don't suggest stuff. Uh, and so anyways, our plan was, we can't go to the gym. Let's go to the river instead. Swimming's fun. It's something that's nice and physically demanding that will get our mind off of everything. So that's not a bad idea. That's something good for us to do, I think. And so that was the plan. We were going to go get McDonald's and head down to the river after we ate. And so my friend was like, okay, I'll pick you up and we'll head down at about 2. Is that good? And I was like, yep, that's perfect. We should invite some other people. And so he starts getting ready. He hasn't invited anybody else yet, which ended up being a good thing. And he messages me around 2:30, and I'm like, where are you? Because you said you'd pick me up at 2, and he's like, so he had lost his swim trunks and also his card. And so he was like, I don't think I can go today. That I was like, okay, that's fine. He's like, but I'll still go to McDonald's if you want, because I was the one paying for McDonald's. And he was like, I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. We can just go do that. And obviously I was disappointed because we had planned to go down to the river, and I was really looking forward to that because I do really enjoy going down to the river. But we did not end up going down to the river, and at first I was fine with it. I was like, oh well, we'll just go to McDonald's, eat, have a good time, hang out a little bit. We didn't even stay at the McDonald's to eat. So we left the McDonald's. We didn't even eat at the McDonald's, which was a little disappointing, but I was like, oh well, I get to go home and just enjoy my food on the couch, watch some TV, whatever. And so in that moment, I was still looking on the bright side of everything, but I had barely gotten sleep the night before, and I was exhausted. And all week I'd been doing stuff. Sunday I met up with Ghastly, and Saturday I had band practice, and you know, just all stuff during the week that really exhausted me. And so I was at this point where I was just completely at my limit, emotionally, physically, mentally, socially. Everything was just at its limit. And so I was already like kind of prone to kind of just explode. And not going to the river is what set me off, because I was thinking about it and I was like, man, I was really excited to do that. And then I was thinking about it more and I was like, I was really excited to do that. And I just kept repeating that thought. Like, I was so excited for that. I think this dude's hacking. So I'm gonna have to end his game. No, no, no. Anyways, so I was just repeating that thought over and over. I was like, I really wanted to go. I was really excited. And so I go up to my room, and my mom at this point had noticed something was off from the moment I got back, because when I got back, she was still under the impression that we were going to the river. She was like, oh, did you forget something, or are you stopping by? I was like, no, we can't go swim today. And so she was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And clearly in my voice, you could tell it wasn't fine. I was like very clearly about to break down. And I don't think even I had fully realized it yet, because I was still like, oh, well, I guess I'll just eat here and I'll, enjoy my food on the couch. I'll watch The Office or something funny to kind of like get my mind off of everything. So anyways, I was just at my breaking point, and after I finished eating, I went upstairs and my mom messaged me and she was like, are you sure you're okay? And I was like, yep. And in that moment, when I told that lie and I said, yep, I'm fine, I broke down. I just sat in my room for a second and I started sobbing because my thorns, what? What? That's kind of cool. Um, I was just, at that point. And so I stopped pretending and I let it break down. And I just started sobbing in my room, and I texted my girlfriend. I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I can't. I'm destroyed right now. I am just sobbing into my own hands. And so she was pretty worried, and later last night, she ended up coming over to my house for a little bit just to see me and comfort me, which was really sweet. But it was just out of nowhere, and that's been a common theme with this process of grieving. And I don't even want to call it grieving yet because I'm still in a state of like pure unbelief and denial. I'm at a point where it's like, what do you mean my best friend's dead? What do you mean he has passed away and is no longer gonna be here to talk to me every time I need him? Like, that does not make sense to me as a concept. Fundamentally, it makes no sense to me that he is just gone. Because we used to talk all the time about how one day, you know, he had plans. So the person he was dating, uh, they very clearly were meant to be, you know. It was clear to all of us, even though we're high schoolers, that those two were going to go all the way, you know. They were meant to be, and they were gonna make it. And he knew that, and multiple times he talked to me about how, you know, he was planning his wedding and how I was gonna be uh, pseudo best man, and just always talking about the future. And I remember so vividly, we had a conversation a couple of times where he would tell me, like, after he gets married, he's gonna travel the world for a little bit, and then he's gonna settle right back down where we are, and near me, so that when we both have kids, they can, you know, hang out with each other. We can hang out with each other. We can have dinner together whenever we want. We can do whatever, whenever, and just stay next to each other forever. And again, that was like a conversation we had multiple times. So the idea that he's gone and that we can't do those things, because I had, every time I thought of my future, I didn't know what it was going to hold, but I knew that he would be in it, and so I still am in the state of, he can't be gone because we promised this would happen. And he told me one day, you know, we'd be sitting there watching our kids play and uh, just enjoying the weather or something, and we'd look at each other and just realize that everything worked out in the end. And the idea that that won't ever happen does not make sense to me. In any shape, any form, it does not add up. Because, you know, as I said, I structured a lot, when I imagined the future, I structured a lot of it around the idea that he would be a part of it. Uh, and so I've just really had a very hard time wrapping my head around it. But I'm at a point now where I think about it constantly, right? Like that doesn't go away. That's not going to go away, at least for a very long time. I am always going to, in some capacity, be thinking about him and the fact that he's gone. But I am at a point now where it's not the forefront of my mind, it's subconscious. And I'll be, you know, playing a game and I'll feel that quick moment of, wait, he's gone. And I'll get that moment of clarity where I'm like, it actually happened. And then I'll go straight back to whatever I was doing before, and it's fine. Not fine, but, you know, like, I can not focus on it and dwell on it. But anyways, I was breaking down, and I texted my mom, and I was very honest with her, and I was like, look, I am in my room crying right now, and it just happened out of nowhere, and I was open and honest, and I was like, I just really miss him. It just hit me all at once, the idea of everything again, and I really, in that moment, wholeheartedly, there was nothing else on my mind except for, I miss him. And so my mom's like, yeah, that makes sense. And I don't think, obviously I was going to break down eventually, but this week I was doing stuff all week. Every day I was doing something, which isn't bad. In a time of grief, it is very good to be going out and doing things. But I was doing things every day. There was not a single day that I took to myself to kind of like slow down, you know? And that was very detrimental to me because I am an introvert at heart. No matter who I'm with, the only exception is my girlfriend and my best friend who passed away. I never have or had any point where it was like, I am too drained to spend time with this person. That's just not in the cards for me with those two. So, anyways, I told my mom, I was like, I have been, masking all week, and I've been just so busy, and I am just truly at my limit in every sense of the phrase, at my limit. And she was super understanding. She was like, yeah, I completely get that. You need to take some time to yourself too. Like, it's not just go do stuff, it's also make sure you take some time to take care of yourself. And it felt good to have that moment of clarity and validation where I'm like, I can be open about this. I don't have to constantly pretend like I'm okay. So, anyways, I text my girlfriend and I'm like, hey, having a little bit of a breakdown. It's just been a rough day. And I vented to her about it all, and I told her everything. I was like, we were planning to go to the river, and then it got canceled, and then, we didn't even stay to eat at McDonald's. We just left. I didn't even get any real interaction. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to be near your house today, so maybe I can stop by for a little bit. And I was like, yes, absolutely. And so I went downstairs. I watched Jujutsu Kaisen with my dad for a little bit, and then she messaged me and she's like, "Okay, my parents have said that I can go," and I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's uh, let's do it then." And so her dad comes by, drops her off, and he's like, "Okay, just need her home by 11:30." And my dad was super nice. He was like, "Yeah, I'll drive her back so that you know you don't have to come get her." And so super great. I was really happy to get that time with her because I needed it. I really did. Um, so, oh, you've fallen into my trap. So she got to my house at around 9, and then went home. We took her back at about 11, because we took her back. We left our house by like 10:30 because her house is like 30 minutes away, but a big storm was rolling in, so we were like, okay, let's just cut it short. We'll drive slow. We got to drive slow in the storm anyways to be safe, and we don't want her getting home late. And so we went, left early, sat in the back, and it was really nice because just a couple weeks ago, there was another big storm, and I was telling her how much I love just listening to the rain, especially when I'm playing games. It's just one of my favorite things. It's so relaxing. And she was like, wouldn't it be really nice to like be together during one of those storms and just kind of like exist with each other? And it sounded really nice to me. And so last night we finally got to do that on our way taking her back. We got to drive through the storm together, which was really nice, really comforting for me. And then today I went to band practice, and I went to the park with a friend, which was really nice because previous to, I think, probably close to, oh man, oh, I took him with me. So today I went to the park with my friend. We walked around for a couple hours, which was pretty nice. It was hot, but this is a park that I went to in 8th grade. We had our school every year. Our middle school did a thing for the 8th graders. It was a field trip to this park, and it's always this park. And so I remember in our 8th grade year, I went with my best friend and my at the time girlfriend. And so it was nice to relive through a lot of those memories and just kind of like re-experience them. And this friend is who was his best friend a little while back. They were still very close friends and would be considered best friends in terms of how close they were towards the end of his life too. But I was the one that he claimed as his best friend. Like I went through some old messages where he was talking about how like we were trying to figure out something for his birthday party, and he was like, "Hey, are you fine if this person goes? I'm asking you first because you're the best friend I'm closer with." And I was like, "Yep, of course." Um, so they were very close, and at that time, they were much closer than the two of us were. So it was nice to kind of talk to them about it and kind of hear about the stories that they had to tell. And we just spent a couple hours talking about him. And eventually we moved on from that topic because it's hard for both of us, and there's no need to constantly be sad. We talked about some other stuff that was kind of nice. I'm not going to talk about all that on here. But it was a good day, and since I already had my breakdown yesterday, the emotional drainage isn't really hitting me all that hard. I'm sure it will if I keep doing stuff, but tomorrow is a me day. That's why I'm recording this tonight. I'm going to take tomorrow to just kind of be alone, you know? And I think I've earned that at this point. So, yeah, it was a good day. And I'm at a point now where I'm not going to move on. I don't think I ever will, but I'm at a point where I can not like spend the entire day, every day, sobbing. And one thing that has really helped me through it all has been music. I've always been very open about the fact that music is my therapy. I preach that therapy itself, like with an actual licensed professional, is great. You obviously should try that, but it hasn't ever really worked very well for me. And so I personally prefer to just listen to music instead. And exactly 2 weeks after the day that I had to say goodbye to my best friend, I'm gonna get so much crap when I say this. My favorite band is Imagine Dragons. I'm used to it. I get nothing but crap for my music taste, and you know, I don't care about the jokes. Whatever. I'm used to it. I just got called a Sigma by the dude that killed me. So, previous to the accident, Imagine Dragons had started dropping teasers for their new album and all the songs on it, and my best friend was by no stretch of the imagination like a huge fan of them. But he knew I was, and he was super excited for me that they were getting new music out there because I was telling him how like I need something new. I was like at a point where the same old stuff that I listened to just wasn't doing it, and they were the people that I needed to make a new album. And then they announced it, and they started dropping teasers and stuff for it. And as I said, by no means was he like a super big fan, but he got excited for me when I was like, look, there's a new teaser, and I would send it to him, and he would actually listen to it, and he'd be like, wow, that sounds good. And I remember the week it happened. So it happened on a Monday, and he was in the hospital, and they had dropped another teaser for a song called Fire in These Hills. And I remember being in the hospital with him by his bed when I heard the teaser. And it was just like a very short snippet. It was just the first verse of it, but just that was enough. Just that was enough to me. Because it the way it goes, the lyrics that I heard were, I don't think that I'm strong enough. And in that moment, that's what I was feeling. It was a moment of, I don't think that I am strong enough to get through this. And you know, I still almost daily have those moments where I'm like, can I really do this without him? And then I remember that, you know, it's not necessarily a question of can I. It's I have to. For him, for my mom, for my girlfriend, for my whole family, really, not just my mom, but especially my mom. Uh, but it's like just that lyric of I don't think that I'm strong enough made me feel so much less alone, and it made a bad situation a little more bearable. And this was at a point too where we still believed that he was going to make it. It was very early on. It was literally like 3 hours after it had happened, and they were like, there was a little bit of a brain bleed, but we think that there will be a full recovery, and we still all had a lot of hope. And that hope was everything to me. But hearing that lyric was like, I can make it through this. No matter how long it takes him to wake up, I can wait. I can make it through it. And obviously that didn't hold up. By Wednesday, we knew he wasn't going to make it because they were like, there's a brainstem injury. Even if he makes it, he's not. I mean, chances are he wouldn't be the person he was before, and he'd be on so much equipment and machinery that even if he was, he would hate his life. And so we had all like kind of come to terms with the fact that we weren't gonna. He wasn't gonna make it. And so they kept dropping teasers, and I got to a point. They were dropping teasers daily, and they all helped so much because, again, they just made me feel less alone. This album is about beginnings and ends. It's called Loom, and it's just about how you can view everything as the end of something or the beginning of something. And so I was listening to all these different teasers, and at this point they were just teasers, but they were helping me in every way I could imagine. We said our final goodbyes on the Friday after it happened, so over the course of just 5 days, it went from he's gonna make it to you have to say your goodbyes, and that was very difficult. But exactly 2 weeks after I had to say my last goodbye to him, the album dropped, and I remember staying up until midnight on the Thursday night with Raptor and Buttons and a couple other people, and just staying up to listen to it the moment it dropped. Because this album couldn't have come at a more perfect time. And immediately, like, the first couple of songs on there were not really super relatable for me. So I think it's the first 4 songs, because the order of the album goes a song called Wake Up, which is about anxiety, which I do struggle with anxiety, but that's not what in the moment I was dealing with the most. And so that one wasn't my favorite off the bat. It sounds nice, but it just didn't relate to me that much. And then it's Nice to Meet You, which is it sounds like a happy song. It's about like meeting friends in a relationship where like you're getting to know the people that your partner hang around and that kind of stuff. And that didn't really relate to me very much. And Eyes Closed is a song about just believing in yourself and having confidence, which again, not much. Take Me to the Beach, same thing. It's just not something I relate to. But the 5th song was called In Your Corner. And I remember from the very start of that song, all of us were intrigued. We were like, what is this? Because it was a new sound and a good sound. And so the singing comes in, and immediately the lyrics related to me. It was, woke up to the phone, I want to see your name. And so I was like, wow, that's very relatable for me right now. I when I wake up, I want to see his name, because I always woke up with a text waiting from him, And it wasn't like a good morning text that he did every day. It was just like a reel or something, or a random idea, or just something random. And so I was at this point where I did want that. I wanted to wake up to the phone and see his name. So, anyways, In Your Corner was immediately like a switch flipped. Not to say that I didn't enjoy the songs before, but this was the first song on the album that really spoke to me, that I really related to, and I was like, yeah, this is a song that it made me cry, you know? And then the next song came on, and it was called Gods Don't Pray, and it's about like the idea that uh, bad things happen, and when they happen, there's not they wouldn't happen if so say it's hard to explain. It's a concept of if there are gods, if there is a god, if there are multiple gods, whatever, if they were in the same position, they would not they would pray, right? But in their position where they have the power, they decide, what kind of stuff is happening. They don't pray because the bad stuff isn't happening to them, so why would they? And that's the concept of the song. Bad things happen, and you know what? If there are gods out there, they don't pray for it. The bad things aren't happening to them, so why would they? And that was something that related to me because, I was at this point where I was like, I've never been religious, but at this point I was like, there's no way that there is a God who would do this to me, right? No way someone would take away a 16-year-old boy's life. The day the accident happened, it was exactly 2 weeks since he turned 16. He was a young man. And so I was at this point where I was like, I don't want to believe that anything could do something like this to someone so young, so full of life and energy and hope and joy. So that song really related to me. And then the next song is literally called Don't Forget Me. And in my eyes, it was from his perspective. It was talking about like the past and things that, you used to do with someone. And then just saying, don't forget me. Don't forget those good times. And that felt like he was speaking to me in that moment. And so that was another song that just made me start crying. The next song I didn't relate to as heavily. It was called Kid, and it was just about like being a young kid struggling with something and not really knowing what to do about it. Not to say that's not something that I've ever dealt with, but it's just not something that in the moment I was really relating to. I have had no one pressuring me to get over this and get myself together, as the song says. Uh, but the last song on the album, it's not technically the last song because there's a special version of Eyes Closed, a collaboration with J Balvin. But in my eyes, it's the last song because that's just a special collaboration. It's clearly not meant to end the album. Uh, but the last song was that song that I mentioned earlier, Fire in These Hills. And again, earlier I had just heard a little snippet of it. So, anyways, Fires in the... It's midnight. I'm messing up my words. Fire in These Hills comes on, and it is immediately my favorite song on the album because, as I said, it starts with the line, I don't think that I'm strong enough, followed by I don't think that I'm enough. And it's a song about like, pretending you're okay when really in your mind there's fire in those hills, in the hills of your mind there's fire. And so it's the idea that behind the scenes, whether people see it or not, you're not okay. And that was something that I really, really heavily related to. And so that immediately became my favorite song on the album. Uh, and I cried. And still is my favorite song on the album. Still is something that I very heavily relate to. Because at the very end of the song, they stop using the chorus that they were using for the majority of the song, and it switches. And it becomes, I'm so tired. Can I please come home? I've run so far. Can I please come home? And that really resonated with me because the idea of like being just exhausted. You know, you've done so much and you are just at your limit and all you want is to find somewhere to go home. And that's something that I could never put into words previous to the song releasing. And so when the song did release and I listened to the whole thing, I was like, yeah, that is exactly what I've been feeling. That is it in words. And so that is my favorite song on that album. And I do highly suggest listening to it, even if you are not an Imagine Dragons fan. It is a good album. Uh, I had a couple people that just really weren't Imagine Dragons fans listening to the album with me, and they were all like so pleased with it and impressed by it. They were like, "This is good." Most of the songs went onto their playlist, so I do highly suggest it if you are willing to try and listen to it. Um, so yeah, that was what really helped me. It still helps me. I've been listening to that album a lot, and yeah. But now to the final thing that I want to discuss in this video. It's definitely my longest Skywars video by now, but you know what? That's okay. I haven't played Skywars in a while, and I'm actually pretty enjoying this. So my final point, today on the way home, I already said this, but my dad asked, "When was the last time you uploaded a video?" And I was like, "I actually don't know." And I checked, and it had been 4 weeks, and so I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna upload." And I didn't know if I was gonna do it tonight. I didn't know when I was gonna be able to record again, when I would like have it in me. But if I say a few minutes ago, it was more like an hour ago now because I was, you know, I've been yapping for an hour. This recording has gone on for an hour now. I was working on the world for a future video that I'm not gonna spoil yet, but I was building, and I was kind of thinking to myself about my future. But I had this motivation to build, and I was just mindlessly building stuff for it, and I was just thinking about it, and I was looking for a video to turn on in the background, because I always have something going on in the background when I'm playing games. I never want to just play games. Call me brain rot, no attention span, whatever. I watch long videos with it. I just need some more noise to stimulate me, I guess. Uh, so oh, I need that. I was watching a video that Oompaville uploaded today, and it was just talking about his life and his journey through his mental health struggles, and that kind of like got me thinking, and I was like, man, maybe I should make a video right now just talking about everything. And what really put me to it was I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know, I've been really struggling. And that was the whole reason he made this, is he made that video because he was like, maybe I can help some people that are struggling. And so I was like, I'm one of those people who has been really struggling, and it was comforting to know that I'm not alone in that. And so I felt very inspired. I was like, I'm going to make a video. And I realized that I went through a couple old messages before I decided to go record, and one of the last conversations I had with my friend before he passed was that he was talking to me about YouTube, and he was telling me how he thinks with my personality and my style, if I just keep at it, I can make it happen. This is a dream that I can get to come true. And that was a very comforting and motivating thing to me, like the idea that he believed and fully expected that one day I would blow up. And the comfort that I found in that has motivated me to make this video. And that's kind of what motivated me to keep going too. And in that moment, uh, I was thinking about that while that video was still playing in the background, and he started talking about how, he went to go see a therapist eventually, and that helped him a lot. And I realized that at the center of it, no matter what career I'm thinking about, at the center of it is I want to help as many people as I can. I want to save someone's life if I can. YouTube, maybe my content brings some comfort. A, I'm a creator that's very open about my mental health struggles. I've always tried to be very honest and just like, not to a point where it's like I'm completely venting to you guys, but like just an honest, hey, I'm struggling with this. Let me be honest. I just am. And same thing with music. I want my music to do what this new album Loom did for me. I want it to do that for other people, where like someone's gonna listen to it and feel less alone, and be like, that's it. That's it in words. That's what I'm feeling. Because that truly is just one of the greatest feelings in the world. So I thought about it a little more, and in the moment I realized that at the center of it, I just want to help people. And the video in the background was talking about how he went to go see a therapist, and I realized that I have a backup plan. If none of this works out, that's my plan, is to go to school to be a therapist. And I texted my mom, I was like, I figured it out. And she was like, that's good. It's going to be difficult for you. It's just going to be difficult because that's a difficult job, but it's something that she genuinely believes I could do in the event that none of this works out. But as of now, I'm going to keep focusing on YouTube. As I said, I can't promise that I'll completely be consistent all the time, but I'm going to try my best because my best friend believes in me, and I think that it's worth trying. He genuinely believes in me, and I want to make it happen for him, So, with that said, that was another episode of Skywars, guys, and my longest episode of it ever at that, and probably my most emotional. So, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.